And welcome to the Note Buyers Academy. I believe that this is going to be the best academy that we've ever had. My goal is that you close a deal within the next 90 days.
You could still have an LLC own all of those trusts that you put together. It doesn't have to be held in an individual's name, so it could still be run through your LLC. But then, you know, I'm interested in this concept actually because I could still buy the note in the name of a trust. And whether I'm going to assign the beneficial ownership of that trust to someone, like working with a sophisticated investor, or whether I'm working with an unsophisticated, non-sophisticated, under-sophisticated investor, I can still do the double closing either simultaneously or later with that same document. So using that trust just opens up the window to my exit strategies at the end.
Why would you still do a double closing?
If you were working with someone who didn't trust or did not understand the trust concept.
Absolutely. You could put it in a trust for privacy purposes. Just, you know, and still, but then when you do the second closing, it's going to go out of the trust into the individual's name. Absolutely. But you've lost the benefit of just assigning that beneficiary. But if it's kept your deal private and that was your goal, you accomplish that goal. If you can get them to accept the assignment of beneficial interest, that's really a sweet deal for everybody. It's just that many people don't understand it. And you're absolutely correct. It doesn't have to be an individual that is the beneficiary. In fact, I recommend that you use an LLC as your beneficiary. And why do we do that? Because the trust is camouflage. I learned this from my good friend Pat Tarr, and this is her thing, and so I'm going to explain it to you and give her credit for it. She taught us that it's armor and camouflage, and she said the trust is the camouflage. So if you go down to the courthouse, somebody goes down to see what you own, your assets are hidden. They don't see it right off the bat. But if they sue you, because they go, surely she's got something, you know, and then they get a deposition and they say, what assets do you own? Do you have anything in the trust? You've got to disclose it. So at that point, you better have some armor. And if you personally are listed as the beneficiary, you have no armor. And they can take that property. But if you have your LLC, your two-member LLC, that owns that beneficial interest, that's your armor. And you don't care if now they find out because you're protected. And so it's the LLC that really gives the protection. And that's why I really recommend if you are able to, do you have to have an LLC to buy a note? No. And you especially don't need one if you're buying it in your IRA. But if you are going to be flipping LLCs to make money that you're going to live off of, I really recommend that you have an LLC. I really do. And also think about you're going to be advertising. I personally think there's a lot of exposure there to be advertising in your own personal name. I just think it's a wise thing to have an LLC. Yes?
To backtrack, when you were talking about the signatures, how do you find out if the state has a dowry law into it?
If the state has a dowry bond?
Dowry law.
Dowry law.
Spouse having to sign?
Oh, I would Google it and find out.
Oh, you can Google that?
Yeah, I would just Google to find out. But again, that's where if you are going to your local real estate investor clubs, you would know, because that would be a common thing. Like most real estate investors know that Ohio is a dower state. What makes the academy are the people who come. Okay, thank you.